Well, now, you are an individualist. You certainly believe in freedom.
Yes.
You cherish it. Therefore, how can you explain this enthusiasm for a country which even then, and certainly now, has instituted thought control by terror, political purges by blood, suppression of intellectuals?
Do you ever disassociate government and people?
Frankly, you're putting this question to me personally,
Yes.
and I find it very difficult to disassociate government.
I don't find it difficult. I find that government can be a kind of gangsterism, and is in Russia, and is likely to be here if we don't take care of ourselves pretty carefully. A kind of gangsterism, instead of being something from the bottom up, it's something from the top down again.
But the people have to stand still for it.
No, I don't think they do. I think the people are unaware of all these things that are happening to them. I don't think they appraise them at their true value.
Well, don't governments grow out of people, Mr. Wright?
It should, but it doesn't. It hasn't in Russia, and it hasn't here, particularly lately. It doesn't grow out of the people's knowledge of what's good for them, of what is the nature of the thing they're in. They're without the intelligence Thomas Jefferson thought would be ours in a democracy. We haven't manifested it. We can see now mediocrity rising into high places. We can see how Jefferson's unwillingness to qualify the vote has resulted in this mediocrity rising into high places.
But we're responsible, aren't we?
We are responsible ourselves, but we don't wake up to the responsibility. We don't take it. Where do you know a group of men or women who are consciously aware, politically, we'll say, of the principles which were declared by the Declaration of Independence and the responsibility for the development of a conscience that it places upon them? You don't find it very rare. It doesn't manifest in the street. It doesn't manifest in the movies. It doesn't manifest sometimes in the theater. We see a little of it.
Well, then, in the days that have gone by since our Declaration of Independence, we've gone to the Dickens in a handbasket, but somebody has been responsible, and evidently the people have to be responsible. When I say the people, the mob, whomever, people don't arrive at being president or senator or mayor unless they are elected.
It's perfectly true that there will be no turn for the better until the people awaken to the nature of the thing that has them in thrall. But this matter is not a matter for a tinker. It's a matter of something that must be grown. And I don't see it growing as Thomas Jefferson thought it would grow, by education. I think education has been lax in all this thing. I believe we haven't gone to school to learn about ourselves. We haven't gone to school to learn the nature of things. And until nature study is the basis of our education, we will continue to be in danger of communism, of all the isms and the istics and the ites you can name.
Well, what's wrong with communism? You just agree.
Communism is utterly, from my standpoint, wrong. I'm an individualist.
You love the people of Russia.
World as such.
You love the people of Russia, but you do not love their government.
That's right. I despise their government and said so. I haven't heard a word from Russia all these years. And it would make them laugh in Russia if they ever heard of it. I don't suppose they have. That I've been accused of communistic sympathies in my own country.
Mr. Wright, suppose you were approached by one of your students, one of your apprentices, say,
Yeah?
who felt pessimistic about his future because of the hydrogen bomb, the threat of war, the world's general insecurity. And he came to you and he said, Mr. Wright, help me to understand. Give me something to live by. What could you tell him?
That's they're all asking me. And that's what I'm telling them every Sunday morning and all the time they're working with me. I don't put a line on a drawing board that the answer isn't there. And they're there for the way of life we live, which is the answer to this very question you're asking. That's why these youngsters come to me from all over the world.
And the answer is?
The answer is within yourself. Within the nature of the thing that you yourself represent as yourself. And Jesus said it, I think, when he said the kingdom of God is within you. That's where architecture lies. That's where humanity lies. That's where the future we're going to have lies. If we're ever going to amount to anything, it's there now, and all we have to do is to develop it.
Mr. Wright, you...
No, I don't call that the mob. I call that human nature, and I call that humanity. Now, humanity to me is not a mob. The mob is the degeneration of humanity. The mob is humanity going the wrong way.
You have faith in youth. You have no faith in the mob. Yet youth becomes adult and turns into a mob. Or do I misunderstand?
Yes, it may. But that's our misfortune, and that's because they are not properly educated and don't have an opportunity to go right instead of left.
You write, at some small length anyway, in your latest book, A Testament, published by Horizon Press, you write about your religious ideas. I understand that you attend no church.
I attend the greatest of all churches.
Which is?
And I put a capital N on nature and call it my church. And that's my church.
Your attitude toward organized religion is one
That's what enables me to build churches for other people.
Well, this I do want to understand.
If I belonged to any one church, they couldn't ask me to build a church for them. But because my church is elemental, fundamental, I can build for anybody a church.
What do you think of church architecture in the United States?
I think it's, of course, a great shame.
Because it improperly reflects the idea of religion?
Because it is a parrot and monkey reflection and no reflection of religion.
Let's go to your...
Is that a little bit too fantastic?
No. As a matter of fact, no one has asked me, but I heartily agree.
And you can take that to the universities and take it to the kind of atmosphere in which they administer education to the young and get exactly the same failure.
Well, now, wait. I said that I heartily agree, and yet something immediately comes to mind. When I walk into St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I am not a Catholic, but when I walk into St. Patrick's Cathedral here in New York City, I am enveloped in a feeling of reverence.
Sure, it isn't an inferiority complex.
Just because the building is big and I'm small, you mean? I think not.
I hope not.
You feel nothing when you go into St. Patrick's?
Regret.
Regret?
Regret.
Because of what? Because
it isn't the thing that really represents the spirit of independence and the sovereignty of the individual, which I feel should be represented in our edifices devoted to culture.
When you go out into a big forest with towering pines and this almost a feeling of awe that frequently you do get in the presence of nature, do you then not feel insignificant? Do you not feel small in the same sense that I feel small and insignificant?
On the contrary, I feel large. I feel enlarged and encouraged, intensified, more powerful.
Let's go.
That's because why? Because in the one instance, you're inspired by nature. In the other instance, you're inspired by an artificiality contrary to nature. Am I clear?
You are clear, although I must say that I don't agree, because whatever inspires a feeling of reverence, a feeling of goodness, a feeling of not understanding. That's not.
Oh no! Now you're on dangerous ground.
Not understanding, I say. Is good for the insides. Is good for the soul.
Maybe very bad. Very bad. Our natures are now so warped in many directions. We are so conditioned by education. We have no longer any straight, true, clean reactions that we can trust. And we have to be pretty wise and careful what it is we give up to, what it is we admire, what it is we're inspired by. I dare say that the stevedore is inspired by the prostitute whom he seeks. I dare say that all these things may be good so far as they go because they are necessary. But I wouldn't say that they're what should be. I wouldn't say that they're ideal.